This is the second design by New available. These are three options for you for gluing. You and about the wallpapers you're doing from miniatures.com. Okay. All right. Welcome. I'm going to welcome everybody. How's everybody doing? Good to see everybody joining. Welcome. Say hello in the chat box. Chat box is going to be open throughout. If you're joining for the first time, I would love to know that also. Say hi in the chat box. The chat box will be open this whole time. Thank you for joining this live stream. It's an exciting day. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hi, Susan. Hi, Sophia. Hey, Cindy. Oh, my goodness. I can't read them fast enough. It's so good to see everybody. It's been a while, I think, right? I don't think I've done this year. This might be my first one this year. But thank you for joining. It is 4 o'clock. I do like to start these on time. Keep saying hello because I like to go back and read the chat box and see who's on and who's saying hello. Let me know if you're on for the first time. Finland, hello. Finland's on the line. Hey, Leslie. Colorado, Alexandria, Philadelphia, first timer. Hi, Julie. Great to see you. Pam in Chicago. Oh, this is so great. Thank you all for joining. This is fantastic. Welcome to this new year. I know it's been really tough for everybody. And I want to take a moment to sort of acknowledge that. But I also want you guys to remember that at least we have miniatures. And I know it might be frivolous, but I really want people to find the joy when they can and if they can and find the joy in miniatures. This is my hashtag for this year, is find the joy in miniatures, because we gotta find something that's going to keep us sane through this time. So I want to acknowledge that, but I want to thank you all for being here. If you don't know me and this is the first time you are joining one of my live streams, my name is Darren. I am a miniaturist. I'm an unapologetic miniaturist, I like to say. I have a passion for the small and the tiny. I love to promote miniatures and talk about them. I sell miniatures, of course, also. Most specifically, I focus on estate collections and larger collections from folks who are looking for new homes for their miniatures. I do a webinar called Selling Your Adored Collection. I have a link in Donald is on the line. Say hello to Donald, people. Donald helps behind the scenes for me. He's an amazing help for me. And so we're going to put a link in on if you're interested in selling your collection, what your options are. I do a webinar, and I also have a link to a previous webinar you could watch. This has really been a great year for miniatures, I have to say. In one way, of course, COVID has helped kick in a lot of free time for people. And that has helped, people find something new to do, but it's also raised awareness of this thing that we love so much, which is the tiny. So it was a great year for miniatures. And there are a number of ways I think that has been proven. I did a blog post on it. If you want to head over to my website at some point, not now because we have wallpaper to talk about. But I did a year-end report on the state of the miniatures world and how it's just grown so much, and it's just amazing. So look for that, and you can also always follow me on all my social media channels too, to find out what's going on and what I'm up to. And one of the biggest things I am working on right now is an estate sale. Ta-da! You can look behind me. Those are some room boxes that are part of an estate from a collector in Massachusetts that I'm working on. The sale actually begins tonight or today, wherever you're joining from, at 7 p.m. Eastern time. This sale is going to be on my eBay selling site. So you could look for it there. We're going to put a link to my eBay site here. The product won't be available to view until 7 p.m. tonight. The auction will last 1 week. It'll be over next Sunday. So you're going to want to get in next Sunday and put all your final bids and all that. If you want a preview to some of the items, I have them posted on a page on my website. I'm going to put the link there too, if you want to go see what the yummy minis are that are for sale. So check that out. Patrons event. Welcome if you are joining and you're part of my patrons club. Hi, patrons. Give a shout out to my patrons. If you're a patron, definitely say hello. We have a January event coming up. It's this Thursday, the 13th of January at 7 p.m. Eastern time. If you are a member of my patrons club, you are basically invited to unique content, exclusive content, events, and things like that. I'm having a very special guest. Her name is Martha McLean from up in Canada, and she's going to be sharing her really beautiful miniatures collection. So that's this Thursday. If you want to join my patrons club, we're going to put that in the link. That's this Thursday, and I'm sorry for the short notice for my patrons who are there. I know I didn't give you a lot of time, but it's this Thursday. And then finally, in terms of what's happening, one of the biggest ways I do promote miniatures are through my Meet the Miniaturist live stream series. And on January 23rd, Sunday, hold that date. I'm holding my first multi-miniaturist open studio event. So over a several hour period, we're going to be dropping in on multiple miniaturists. We're going to probably spend about 10 minutes with each one. We're going to spend time checking in on miniaturists, checking out their studio spaces, checking out what they're working on, chatting with them. It's going to move really fast. So look for that. I'll have links probably in a week or so to register for that, but that's going to be a really, really fun event. But with that, so that's my housekeeping. Thank you for listening to that. But with that, I do want to, again, thank you guys for joining, because this is a really special sponsored event by miniatures.com. And I've been partnering with them on these live streams to develop content that's interesting, that's unique, that's informative. And so today we're going to be talking about wallpaper. And so just a little bit about miniatures.com if you don't know about them. They're a family-owned business. They've been around since the 70s. They're basically the go-to place. They're suppliers for building and hobby supplies, miniatures, of course, and they're doing some really innovative things in who they're partnering with. And that's why one of the things we're going to do today, we're going to meet someone who they're partnering with that's tying into wallpaper, which is exciting. I can't wait to talk to her. It's new over the next 45 minutes or so. We're going to take a look back on the history of wallpapers and dollhouses and miniatures. And we're going to spend a few minutes doing that. Then I'm going to take you through some application techniques. We're not going to go into heavy duty tutorials. I'm just going to give you my top picks for glue, some tips and techniques. And then we're going to bring up our special guest. New is waiting. She's standing by. I had a chat with her before we started this. I'm crazy excited to chat with her and to introduce you to her if you don't know her. But let's do that. Let's go right in. If you have any, I haven't been looking at the chat box, so I'll go back to the chat box. But I'm going to share my screen because I want to take you through. I can now see my application. Hold on. Can you guys see my slideshow? Yes. Okay. All right. I want to just take you through a little bit of history of wallpapers. Now, if this is one of the most iconic miniature, this is really a cabinet house from the Renaissance era. It was also the template for the movie The Miniaturist, the book The Miniaturist, the movie The Miniaturist. So I wanted to share this because this is sort of the beginnings of when we started to see wallpaper included in miniatures and dollhouses and cabinet houses. This is a little bit more of a close-up view of Petronella's dollhouse. This is in the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam. This is from the 1700s, guys. But look at the application of wallpapers back then, hundreds of years ago. There was a couple of things happening at that time. There was basically paint that was done on rooms, murals done, hand-painted murals. But then on the bottom right-hand corner, you could see the application of wallpaper. These were not printed papers, I believe. A lot of times these were either silk patterns or pieces from real wallpaper in the real world, because you can see the scale is a little off. But this is how, this is the sort of the first time that we started to see walls being used, being papered over or decorated. This is another example. And when I was doing this research, I did not know about the Sarah Roth dollhouse out of Amsterdam, also from the 1700s. This is a beautiful cabinet house, which is in the Franschels Museum in the Netherlands. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. But again, using, we don't know if they were wallpapers or paint, or definitely decorating the walls at that time. And then finally, this last look at the Renaissance period, you could see much more use of either paper or silks or fabrics. The scale is a little off, but scale was never really very important at that time. So you could see the patterns are almost full scale. So it's very likely they were using full scale wallpapers or papers or silks to decorate the walls of these cabinet houses. But beautiful. This is the killer house. I'm not quite sure where this is. It might be in the V&A Museum. If someone knows where this house is, let me know. But this was on view at the Smithsonian a few years ago in one of their larger dollhouse exhibitions. This is a close-up view of the killer cabinet. You can see the wallpaper. You can see the patterns, the designs, absolutely lovely. When you zoom in, it's a little bit harder to tell, but beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. And then I think I mentioned, they were using fabrics and silks, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful hand sewn pieces back at that time. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And then this is his final view of that time and that time period. But if you want to fast forward, let's say to the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, with the advent of manufacturing, they were actually printing the wallpaper. That was part of the design of the dollhouses at that time. This was part of the Bliss brand. I guess there was a brand called the Bliss brand back then, and they were doing these lithographs, printed pieces. And then, of course, you guys remember this from the 50s. If you want to jump now to the 1900s, 20th century, these were the tin houses. Again, printed graphics on tin that were designing and decorating these dollhouses. This is an example of the Lundby. These would be much more much more examples of modern or today's papers. Back in the 60s and the 70s, you started to see manufacturing of specific wallpapers and patterns for dollhouses. This is the Faith Bradford dollhouse in the Smithsonian. You could see examples. Hard to see. This is a very large dollhouse. But you could see examples of papers being used to decorate the houses in sort of the modern era. But today, guys, you could see the use of incredible papers and designs and patterns and materials to decorate room boxes, dollhouses, vignettes. This is Teresa from the Mini Beach House. She's on Instagram. She's incredible. You could see the amazing design and effort being put into some of these beautiful works. This is small time decorator Kathleen. She's done this beautiful Asian inspired motif. Again, playing with, the scale is off, but it's meant to be off in today's dollhouse patterns and graphics. It's really extraordinary. Chris Albert, the Little and Big House. She's on Instagram also. Amazing use, again, of design. Kathleen, nice. Kathleen's on. That's her. She's on. Well, thank you for doing such beautiful work. Okay. And then finally, Simply Mini Living Designs. This is Rosa. She does some beautiful work. You really need to check her stuff out. But I guess there's a couple of things happening with wallpapers today. There's just so many options that you can find for purchasing wallpapers, obviously on miniatures.com and where to get to them, but there are other places too. There's, the Michaels and the Joannes of the world have huge paper sections that can be appropriately applied to dollhouses and miniature scenes and vignettes and all of that kind of stuff. So I encourage you guys to check those out because they're everywhere. And there's even some more higher end. I don't know if you guys have Kate's Papery, and more of the sort of the high-end paper stores will have beautiful papers that you can use to decorate and design. So that's sort of a little bit of where the whole wallpaper thing started, where we're at today. When I was growing up, there was really not a lot of choice. And the the wallpapers were very flat, I would say. Today, there's just so much more. They're better because of not only the print quality, but the designs that are out there. And we're going to get to some of the really, really fabulous ones that are out there in a little bit. But does anybody have any questions? I just take some. Oh, good. Pam is saying the killer cabinet is in the Victoria and Albert Museum. Thank you. Find it a little off scale. Please inform. Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that some of these are off scale is a very, very deliberate decision. Whereas during the Renaissance era, it wasn't. It was based on what was available, and also they were not adhering to scale back then. It was not. That's not what was important to them. The miniatures were not created in scale necessarily. The cabinet houses weren't designed and decorated to scale. It was just not important. The most important thing about the cabinet houses back then was to recreate what you had in full scale in miniature to show all of your friends and your families and show off. So, okay. So what I want to do now is I'm going to close that down. I'm going to stop sharing, which I did. Let me see if there's any questions on the Q&A. Where did the killer cabinet come from? I don't know, but I know it was back in Amsterdam, back in Europe at that time, is when the cabinet houses and the baby houses started to become more popular. But that's, I don't know who owned it and how it got to us. It might be on the V&A Museum's website in terms of more information. Oh, Barbara, yes, my mother used wrapping paper to decorate the dollhouse. Yes, and I meant to mention that, yes, that's an option too, using wrapping paper. Even some of the wrapping papers are very high quality. So yeah, they can be used. All right, so with that, I am going to talk a little bit about a dry topic, glue, and a little bit of techniques about gluing and applying wallpaper, miniature wallpaper. Miniatures.com was very gracious to send me some samples of some glues, 3 samples actually, and I'm going to share 3 different glues, 3 different formulas with you. And just talk a little bit about what the options are and what are some of the pros and cons with them. So here are 3 of them. The first one I'm going to talk about is the wallpaper gel. You might, oh, no, this is not the right one. Yeah, no, this is it. Sorry, wallpaper gel. This is it. What's so amazing about this is the formula. And I'm going to show you what the formula is. It's actually a gel. You're not going to be able to see this. It's not coming up. But that's a really interesting part about this, is that it's a gel formula, which is different than the other 2 that I'm going to show you, which is more of a liquid, a traditional white glue liquid, and then one is more of a paste. And at the end of the day, quite honestly, they all do a great job. It comes down to your own personal preference. And, if you're a maniac like me, I would have all 3 just because I love to have stuff and I love to try different things. But I have to tell you, they all do a great job in gluing down the wallpaper. And I want to just share a little bit about, this is just one example of some of the new wallpapers that are available on miniatures.com, which is really one of the biggest reasons why we're talking today. This is by Nitsa, one of several new patterns that are available on miniatures.com. But so, okay, back to the glue. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So gel, just some of the pros and cons. The pro is the gel. I actually used a brush to put it on, which is kind of one of the easiest ways to do it. And lovely product. The paste, however, also a very good product. If you think about glue stick, this is like a glue stick. So a little hard to use, a little hard to sort of apply. Better to use this for smaller pieces. Okay, better to use it for smaller pieces because it's a little more difficult to apply and it's difficult to spread. And then finally, and I'm moving all over the place, this is the old standby. It's a white glue. It's a good glue. It works. So you have options for glue. They're all available on miniatures.com. You have to figure out which works best for you. You have to sort of literally play. But if I had to choose one and you're undecided, you've never done wallpaper before, Aleen's. It's a standard glue. You want to make sure a couple of things. You want to make sure you are applying it evenly and spreading it well. And I'm going to show you my second little box sample of the new miniatures.com wallpaper. This is the second design by new, available at miniatures.com. So there's a couple of things you want to know. You want to know when you're for applying miniature wallpaper. You want to make sure you're spreading the glue out really, really well across the entire piece of paper of the wallpaper, because you want to make sure you want to make sure it's going on evenly. You want to make sure it's spreading, and you want to make sure it's going to adhere. And one of the most important things is you want to make sure you get all of the edges of the paper glued so that nothing lifts. And then another really, really big tip is you want to make sure you have a finishing edge, like the moldings up here and the moldings down here, because that will hide any mistakes. So this is the second design that I'm going to share, and along with some of these little tips and techniques. I think I did that one already. Hold on. Okay. Oh, by the way, if you want, I'm going to give you the pattern number in case you want to go and order this. It's 42532 is this lovely piece. I feel like I'm on Home Shopping Club. And then the number for this, I'm having fun. The number for this lovely piece is 42540 is for this pattern. And then finally, I'm going to show you my last one. And then we did get a question about, we got a question about the glues. I'm going to show the glues in a second. Okay, and this is the third pattern, which is lovely. Love it, love it, love it. The number is 42543. So tips and techniques. Okay, so let me just recap on the glues, and then I'm going to recap on the techniques, and then we're going to bring up new. So we have a gel, we have a paste, and we have a liquid, pretty much. The gel is more like a cream. I don't know why they're calling it a gel. I find it to be more creamy. But so these are three options for you for gluing. And then I'll recap the tips and techniques, but let me take some questions. Okay. What is the paste called? The paste is called a stick flat glue is what it's called. It's grandma's, I'm sorry. It's grandma's stoves. This one, it's grandma's. Just remember grandma's, that will help. This is a very popular. This is like, I've only heard so many great things about it. It's very popular. People love this. To me, the stick is just really hard to apply. That's all. Grandma Stover. Thank you, Barbara. All right. So the paste, that's the paste. The New Creations wallpaper is the gel, which is kind of like a cream. I kind of like this. It's just more fun to use. It's just fun. I don't know. I'm not sure if the gel works on fabric, Leslie, but I do know for sure Aileen's works on fabric. I would think so, but I would always test it for sure. Hold the object still so we can see it better. Which object? Sorry, I'm moving around really fast. I guess it's all objects. What do you suggest if we want to change? Lots of questions. Hold on. What do you suggest if we want to change the theme or scene in a shadow box? That's a good question. A couple of things. Shadow boxes, quite honestly, are very easy to update. Just with a little elbow grease, I would say. These are once these are all glued in, it's very easy to remove. I would just strip it all down, and it's just, it's a very easy if you don't get bogged down on time. It's very easy to sort of update these little shadow boxes and room boxes. It's not as taxing as changing a room in a dollhouse. I don't actually have a dollhouse, which is why I can't show this to you in a dollhouse, but this is very easy to update. And actually, I'm going to show you a couple of tips and tricks for doing that. I brought a couple of, a couple of tools. Goo Gone. I don't know if you know about this. Great product. It's great for stripping down glues or residues. Very, very easy. And this is one of my favorite tools in the whole wide world. It's really a razor blade scraper. And this goes in this, you can find this at Home Depot. You slip this in and you scrape any excess paper off. And somebody did have a question about applying the wallpaper and what kind of surface. And this is a really important point. You want to make sure the surface underneath the paper is very clean and smooth. And you want to do that by not only cleaning it, if it's a refurb, you want to make sure it's clean from any wood filings and things like that. So just, use a little sandpaper and get it really nice and smooth. Believe it or not, I have some bumps in here. You can't see them, thankfully. I have some bumps in here because my back was not, my base was not that smooth. So just take a little time to smooth it out and make sure it's primed appropriately for your paper. Where to put the, there's a big question of where to put the glue, whether you put it on the paper and then onto the back, or you put it on the back and then you put the paper down. It's really up to you. I find that putting it on the paper, you have a lot more control. And I want to go back to this for a second. Why I like the white glue so much is because the white glue has a little more time. You have a little more time once you do apply the glue onto the paper and then applying the paper to the wall. You have a little bit time to move it around to get it exactly where you want it before you start to smooth it down. So that's a really important point. And I want to give you a couple little tools that I use to smooth out the walls once you've applied the glued paper to the wall or the paper to the glued wall. Credit card, guys, just a nice hard edge, because you want to get all the bubbles out and make it nice and smooth. That's one really, really low maintenance kind of trick. Or if you want to get fancy schmancy, you can get one of these. It's like this little painter roller. You could roll, but I would say just use a credit card. It does the trick. I hope I'm moving slowly enough for folks and you're not getting too dizzy. A couple of more questions. It's crazy. What about the stretch? Oh, okay. Wait. What about stretching of the paper? I don't know about what's that. Can you use Elmer's? You could use Elmer's. I find Elmer's to be just a little too watery, a little too liquidy. You want a little grab. Elmer's is fine, but step up a little to the Aleen's is my suggestion. Inside privacy envelopes designs are gloss. That's a good, I like that. Eleanor, thank you for that tip. Yeah, some of the envelopes have beautiful paper on the inside that you can use for wallpaper. The wall is rough. Okay, Pam is saying the roll is rough. You can apply paper to a thin card, same size as the wall. You guys, you need to go through these really great suggestions. I'm not going to be able to get to all of them, but read through some of them. Barbara uses wallpaper paste designed for a regular size home. Very nice. Perfect. So say you want to make your own wallpaper. Yeah, do it. Go for it. I don't know what the question is about stretching the paper. Let's see. Oh, so May is saying she's always used Creations wallpaper gel with great results. Very nice. I like it. Again, it goes back to your own preference. I really liked using the gel. Just more fun to apply. I don't do you use one piece of wallpaper in your room box or several pieces? Oh, that is a good point. I want to make sure I get to that. So when you're working on a new project, whether it's a dollhouse, a room box, a vignette, you really want to make sure that you have enough paper. If you're ordering paper online, make sure you buy enough, because you invariably, undoubtedly, you're always going to make mistakes. So, so buy enough, spend the extra for a piece or two extra, so that you have it and you're not like, it could be really frustrating if you make a mistake and you don't have any, and don't have another piece of paper to finish your project. So overall tips, God. Prepare your surfaces, make sure your glue is everywhere, make sure you're evening out the surface so you're getting all the bubbles out. Use a credit card, make sure you buy enough paper, get enough paper. And we're going to talk to New about this, but very important is we talked a little bit about scaling and graphic and pattern, and choosing the right pattern is going to be really, really important. So we went through the glues and the techniques, but when you're going in and starting a project, really have an understanding of what kind of pattern you're looking for. We're gonna ask New about that when she comes on in a second. Oh, matching up the corners. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna do that, and then we're gonna move. We're gonna move. So yeah, this is also very important, especially with graphic patterns. You want to make sure that the patterns match up when you're in your corners. I don't think I did a great job on this necessarily. Actually, this was a much more difficult one to match up. It is not easy with the fancier graphic patterns, but this one actually was a lot easier to do, to match up. You want to make sure that the pattern lines up. So if there's a line going across this way, it travels through. And you just want to spend a little time making sure that works and that it lines up. Very important. Okay, let's see. Any other really quick tips? Matching up the corners, using credit card, fancy rollers. This is also really important. Make sure you're working in a temperature controlled environment. If you're working in a humid environment, that's going to affect the glue. It's going to affect the dry time. And so you want to be in a nice dry, when you do your wallpapering, make sure it's on a dry day. The glue will dry. It's just going to take a lot longer, and you don't want to do that. So just think about that when you're working on a new project and you're working on wallpapers or anything actually using glue. You want to make sure you're working in a temperature controlled environment, not a lot of humidity. Okay. All right. I want to bring on New because I'm crazy excited. It's 4:30 and we want to get to do. So with that, we are bringing up New. Let me introduce you. Hi, New. Say hello, guys. All right, let me just talk a little bit of how I met you and how. So I probably met you at a show a while ago. What's so amazing about you and what you do is you are a designer, you are a miniaturist, you are an entrepreneur, which we're going to get to some of the great things that you're doing. And you have this full scope talent, and I'm just so excited to be working with you on this and excited to be talking about your new work and about you and about the wallpapers you're doing for miniatures.com. So with that, hi. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And while you do that, I'm actually going to bring on some slides so people can see a little bit more of your work. So tell us a little bit about you, how you got into miniatures, when you started, maybe a little bit about your background. How did you become so talented in art and design and miniatures and all of that?
Oh,
No, that's a lot.
well, I'm originally from Seattle, Washington, and right now I'm living in Salisbury, Maryland. But it all started when I was in college. I'm a health science nerd, and so just to kind of decompress and de-stress after a long day in the lab, I would come home to work on my dollhouse. And I noticed that I had a hard time covering up the walls because I don't know if you remember, it was the die cut doll houses.
Yes.
They had a lot of imperfections. And so I started, and I couldn't find the designs that I liked. So I started making my own. And so I tested a whole bunch of different types of wallpapers. I called up different paper mills and asked to speak to their paper chemists. So I finally found a wallpaper that I liked, just the right weight.
Yeah.
And so I really, it really went on well and looked great on the walls and really covered all those divots and knots that were in my wall. And so I shared it with my miniature club, and their response was fantastic. They were so supportive. They and their friends and other miniatures would start emailing me to have me design different patterns for them. Maybe, they were working on a log cabin or something very, specific and interesting. And so that's how Itsy Bitsy Mini was born.
Oh, wow. So it really did arrive out of wallpaper, out of that whole concept of.
It did.
So then we're almost taking a step back, but we're not. Talk a little bit about some of the other products that you produce, because that's also.
I love everything miniature. And I think that, when you have a dollhouse, you want to fill it with things that evoke a memory, or kind of memorialize a time in your life. And so for me, these are a few of my favorite miniatures. You'll see here that you have a planner and travel.
Yeah.
Because I think we're all hoping to travel to see our loved ones one day, and we have all these plans. And so now your doll can plan with you.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
and then I love makeup. I think, I always feel a little bit more confident when I have lipstick on. And so I can't get enough. And so one thing would add to the next. And, people keep on calling me, why don't you make this? Why don't you make that? I was like, that's all wonderful. I want to do it all. And so
Yeah.
here's some examples.
I love, there's such a modern look and feel to your miniatures that it just brings us to a whole new place. It takes us out of the Victorian and to the today, which is what I love. And obviously the level of detail is just crazy amazing. Crazy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think one of my favorite exhibits is in the museums where always the dioramas, because I like to see how people live. And I was just thinking, my dollhouse, maybe that would capture, the way I live.
Yeah.
The things that mean a lot to me. Oh, here's an example of the papers that are available at Hobby Builder Supply, miniatures.com.
Yes. So, okay, let's talk about this. So you actually have a number of your graphic patterns and wallpapers that are on miniatures.com. And what's happening now, and what I've already shared, are some new patterns. Could we talk just a little bit about what is your thinking when you go into designing and creating new patterns, new looks? Where do you start? Where did you start?
I'm a very emotional person, and colors really, really influence me. And I think right now, especially when we're surrounded by snow, a lot of us, and the trees are without leaves. And so I wanted to bring a little spring. And so you'll see, a lot of growth, and that's where I have all the florals. Yeah. And then I also love rich colors. And I think right now I need a little warmth too. And so you'll see rich, vibrant colors.
Yeah.
Just to kind of give you that warmth.
So how does one, because it can be quite overwhelming, how does one go about like choosing? Where does one go? Where does one start when they're starting a project? What's your advice when in choosing a wallpaper?
I think it is overwhelming because there's so many out there, but there's always one pattern or color, and I would start with that. What is your favorite? And I think you'll know it when you see it. It just hits you, and you just think, I don't know what it is. I love that. And I think that should be your central overall kind of guiding palette. And then you can pick other wallpapers to kind of match that. You'll love the end result.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's really good advice. So I guess my biggest question would be, and this was actually from the comments section. We talked a lot about scaling and graphics, and from your perspective, what is the importance of scaling and graphic sizing when choosing a pattern, and versus the project, let's say?
Oh, it's so important to me. I think that's how I actually, came about with Itsy Bitsy. It was because some of the wallpapers out there, it just didn't look right to me. And I think there's a lot of artistic interpretation in regards to making things kind of balance with maybe your miniatures. Otherwise something looks off, And I think sometimes it's deliberate, but for me, I like things to look realistic.
Yeah, no.
And so you'll see my patterns a little bit smaller, and I really try to cater to all people's, everyone's taste. So I'll have scales as small as quarter scale up to 1/6 scale.
Yeah.
And everywhere in between. So
yeah, I mean, I think the key word that you said was balance. You want to find that balance, and a lot of times that's an artistic endeavor. It's there's no hard and fast rule. It's like you have to find that balance in your mind, if what is pleasing to you, and because it's your project, it's your creative endeavor. Don't let anybody tell you that flower is too big. It's what pleases you. But I think finding that balance is really important. But I think with your designs, it makes it very easy to choose because they are very balanced. They are very appropriately scaled. I love them. I love them. Let's see if we have any questions before we move on. Oh, yes. Oh, tell us a little bit about this.
Well,
Yeah.
well, sometimes I think that, we just think of wallpaper for our four walls, but we forget about the other wall right above us. And so I love having a little bit of it, almost like an Easter egg. When you look at a dollhouse, you look inside. Sometimes we forget to look up. And then when we do, we're all, it's such you can add a lot of drama with
Yeah.
wallpapering your ceilings. And so this is one of the murals that is available on my website.
Awesome.
And here's an example. This is Marissa Cornet.
Ah,
And she placed one of my wallpapers up on the ceiling. You could see, how dramatic that is.
yes, for sure.
Yes. And
Is
this
this
is also a new wallpaper that I have out.
I love this.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
A lot of foliage. And then sometimes we forget, to kind of experiment.
Yeah.
Some things that, you traditionally you think would only be on the floor. Why not put it on the wall?
Yeah.
And so here I have a tile that looks very gorgeous on the wall.
Yeah. I love these ideas, just thinking out of the box, finding new and alternative ways to paper and other surfaces to fill creatively. Love it. All right, let's take a question. Anna's asking, when doing a ceiling, do you still need to cover or sand a rougher wood surface? Do you want to take that?
I think it's always nice to have a clean, smooth surface to work with, so that way, the imperfections don't come through. What's nice about my wallpaper is that it's thicker, and so it hides a lot of sins.
Oh, very important.
But it's always nice for better adhesion to have a nice, smooth surface. But if you have tape,
yeah,
in regards to tape wiring, the paper will cover it. So
no, that's
one of the benefits.
Very important. I like that. Yeah. I paint my white wall before wallpaper if paper is thin. It's a good idea. Yeah. I do find a lot of the thinner papers, you have to really match up with the right glue. Otherwise the paper gets so thin, it gets bubbly. But yeah, one of the things I really love about your paper is it is really nice and thick. Love it. And it's a really high quality color impact, which you don't always find in some of the lighter papers that are printed on paper. So whatever the stock you're printing on, it's really lovely. What is the best use of your murals? What is the best to use your murals? I don't know what that question is. You want to ask it again, Flores?
Well, I have a comment or instructions.
Yeah.
You know that I can custom print any mural to your specifications. And so, I'm your best friend and I will work with you because I want to make sure that your project is perfect. And so, I'll work with you in shrinking or expanding it, and then also, give you ideas. So, always don't hesitate to contact me.
Yeah, and we're making sure we put your contact information in the chat box, your website, your Instagram, so you guys can go and follow. But on that topic though, quite honestly, you are an entrepreneur. You are creating innovation, not only from a design standpoint in this world of miniatures, but just in terms of the way people shop. And so we're going to get treated to a preview for what I know. We're going to get a preview of some upcoming new technologies, and I don't know what umbrella you would.
Right now I'm getting ready to launch my new website. And so I know that it can be overwhelming, looking at all the different wallpapers out there. You have, thousands of pages. And so I wanted to develop a website that would be a kind of like your interior design friend or, consultant. So
yes. Love that. I love that whole, because at the end of the day, people really do need help. They need guidance. And as much as I wish the full bricks and mortar stores were still around where you can go up to the counter and ask for help and get suggestions, we just don't have that anymore. So what you're going to show us is just innovation in terms of creating the shopping experience for people and helping them find what they're
Let
looking
me,
for. Yeah.
yeah, let me see if I can get it on the screen here.
Yep.
Whoops,
Well, I'll take a
hold
question while you're
on. Let
doing
me
that.
share it here, and then
Oh, perfect. There we
let's
go.
see.
Um,
I'm
I'm,
having trouble.
no
Let's
worries.
see.
Can
Leaving
Bubbles?
this. Okay, here we go. Here we
Okay.
go. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
All right. So here's my website.
Hmm.
And if you click on all wallpaper, you're going to be able to see all the colors that I have. And let's see, we have, and just say that your favorite color is orchid. So you
Mhm.
can click on this orchid color swatch and then look at that. You'll have all these different papers that will coordinate. And so pretty much you can decorate every single room or help you decide which papers would go. And then you also have these color swatches on there. So I think it gives you a opportunity to kind of explore and experiment with other colors. Like
Yeah.
say, you want to bring out the green here. You can see what other papers have green, and I have it all color matched.
I just
And
think
I
this
think
is so gorgeous.
scale is so important. So I have rulers here, so you can see exactly how large is that damask. And so if you click on that, you can see what it
Wow.
looks like.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just
And then
wow.
also I have a picture of the, let's see, we'll go here, of what a full sheet looks like. Because I think that it's
Ah,
really helpful to kind of picture the entire room instead of just a tiny little swatch.
yeah. Yeah. This is just wonderful and a tool that we've never seen before. So this is really quite innovative and wonderful. And this is, so when is this going to go live? When can people
It's
actually?
going to go live mid-February.
Beautiful. Just
Mid-February. And so
awesome.
you're not only are you going to be able to pick your wallpaper, but also accessories that match your wallpaper. So, and then also trims. And so, with just clicking a swatch, you'll have, everything color matched and curated.
Just amazing. Just amazing. This is wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing this. And thank you so much for spending time with us that we got to get to know you and get to know more about your work. This is just incredible. Incredible.
Oh,
New.
oh,
So yes, yes.
oh, I
Very
have
wonderful.
an exciting new product. You were talking about glue, but
Yes.
I think we're in a world, we're in the modern world. So peel and stick. So I have
Oh,
the same quality, same heavy weight paper, but now you have it with a silicone liner paper. So, and it's going to be slitted and strips on the back. So you just peel back the strips, adhere to your walls. You can reposition. And
yeah.
then when you're ready, you can peel back all the liner paper and then press flat.
Unbelievable. So just the innovation just keeps coming. I'm just amazed. Well, that is just a lot. I want to thank you, New, for being here with us today. And thank you everyone at home for joining this wonderful, wonderful sponsored event about wallpapers. I hope you got a lot out of it. I certainly did. Um, be sure to join my social media so you find out everything that's going on this month. There's a lot going on. Thank you again. And everybody have a great rest of your day. All right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.